Yo guys, it's Haunting Lime and we made it to Legend. Guys, I can't believe I actually hit level 24 in the Ultra League Premier Cup. So, these battles were done on the final day before the transition over to the Love Cup and the Master League. So I knew I had to kind of get to Legend ranking because I was so close, otherwise I'd have to skip out on Master League as well as the Love Cup. But my god, this team performed super well. So, I'm still using my Gyarados and Shadow Swampert core, but I decided to change up to Charizard instead of my Berserker or even Gengar that I tried. So this team did amazingly well. So these are my two final sets before hitting 3000 Legend rank, and I'm super excited to share it with you guys. So guys, thank you for all the support you've given me and also the comments about making quality content. I appreciate all of it, and I'm trying to get the best possible content out there for you guys. So thank you for all that, and I'll commentate on some of the battles. So this team I ran for about 6 sets in total, ranging from around 2750 going all the way to 3000. So the first set I did, obviously the battles I've not recorded, well, I've got recorded, but I'm only showing the final two. I went 5-0, then went 2-3, then I went 4-1 in that set. And in these two sets, sorry, and then the next set I played on the last day, I went 2-3, dropping down, I think, from 2,904 to 2,889. So obviously I had to get some really good wins to kind of push over to Legend ranking in that point. So let's get onto the commentary, onto the first game. So had a pretty good lead. Charizard is an amazing lead because again my team is pretty decent against fighters, but fighters are pretty much common in the top end of the meta. So Charizard puts in a lot of work against obviously Venusaur, Shadow Machamp, Toxicroak, which is very common, also like bulky Pokemon like Lapras and Snorlax. So you will see a lot of other Swamperts against opposing teams, but that's where having the double water backline actually helps a lot counter the Swampert. One crucial thing that I've learned recently: wing attack on Charizard is key in the Swampert and Swampert matchup, because obviously Mudshot is a 2-turn move, fast move, as well as wing attack being a 2-turn fast move. So you can actually count to 5 wing attacks and then switch out and catch the move. So the first game I was able to win, had a pretty good lead, and it's pretty easy to transition that lead into a win. So again, an amazing lead into Venusaur. So here I'm building up as much energy as possible into the Blast Burn. My opponent will most likely shield the first one. I'm surprised he hasn't switched out, which means he's got something weak in the back to Charizard. I take the first charge move because obviously I don't shield anything from the Venusaur, especially the first move. So here, rather than baiting, I'm going straight for the Blast Burn, and I'm able to take it out because I knew my opponent might not shield if he was already in a bad leading matchup. So he actually has a really spicy pick in the form of an Alolan Golem, which I was like, shit, my Gyarados doesn't want to see this. So I was forced to stay in, but because I had so much energy built up, I was able to get a Blast Burn off. So the idea of this team is to basically Blast Burn everything, because Blast Burn is such a powerful move. It does so much damage, and it hurts a lot of things for neutral damage too. So because I got Shadow Swampert, I wasn't too worried about the Golem, because obviously it resists every move it has, and just had to make sure the pairing was correct. So as soon as my opponent switched out into his Escavalier, I switched into my Gyarados. And Escavalier doesn't have the best matchup against Gyarados, because Gyarados is an amazing save switch, which can see some Electric type Pokemon. So Escavalier already knows. So I'm basically going straight for the Aqua Tails, because Aqua Tails will do neutral damage. Even though Crunch probably does a little bit more damage, Aqua Tails are more energy efficient. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going for Aqua Tail. So here I could have thrown Aqua Tail, but I decided to let my Gyarados go. My opponent obviously realized the same thing as well. So I let the Drill Run go through, thinking I can just farm down the Escavalier and have loads of energy. So I got 2 shields here, but my opponent switched out into the Gyarados, and thankfully my so-called brain was in check. I switched out before the Volt Switch actually registered to take out my Gyarados, so I had an Aqua Tail ready as well. So here, still got a shield, and I'm able to Mudshot this Escavalier down. So team performing excellently. Charizard lead, brilliant. When obviously this is the final day of the Ultra League Premier Cup, so you don't have the choice to play this team right now. But when it comes back, do play the team. So as you can see, I was counting the fast moves, trying to catch a charge move from my opponent on the Gyarados. He overcharged, obviously. He throws a Sludge Wave, which is probably a mistake on his part because he should have automatically switched out. And his best answer was an Escavalier, which isn't really a great answer for Gyarados because he resists the counters and drill runs as well. And even the Aerial Ace is a really crappy move anyway, so Aerial Ace doesn't do too much damage. So I know I can do quite a lot of damage, but the whole idea was to soak all the damage from the Escavalier. So now I can just come in and farm this Escavalier down. Again, Charizard having that flying typing will also resist the counters and take resisted damage from the drill runs. So he has to go for the Aerial Ace, which, you know, Charizard can tank pretty comfortably. So I'm getting loads and loads of energy, and rather than going for a Blast Spin because that's just overkill at this point, I'm just going for the Dragon Claw. Try to undercharge, maybe I can farm a bit more, and I've got almost 2 Blast Spins ready. And like I said, Blast Spin hits everything hard, Blast Spin everything. So this gets the shield, and because I'm already up in a shield advantage, I can shield once again, and then because I'm so close to getting the next Blast Spin, I can throw this Blast Spin and get this Swampert in the low. The idea of Swampert is if you can align your Gyarados onto Swampert, it's a really good match, but you kind of have to do you have to get a shield advantage going into your own Swampert. So here, my Swampert does, well, his Swampert gets taken out, well, it doesn't get taken out, sorry, Swampert takes out my Charizard, which is perfectly fine, but I get my opponent's shield, and now I can leave 1 shield for my Swampert, and obviously he has a Toxicroak in the back, which isn't a great answer, again, for a Shadow Swampert, but he will obviously absorb a lot of damage. So here, the idea is to just, I didn't have to shield that, but it was probably a good idea because it gives me more durability, and obviously I know this next Hydro Cannon is going to be enough to take out this Swampert. So Shadow Swampert putting in a lot of work. This team functions with Shadow Swampert perfectly because the extra damage it provides, and the coverage obviously with Gyarados and the Swampert is really amazing because the Gyarados brings out the Venusaur and also covers, you know, the leading Charizard matchups as well. So onto another amazing lead. Galid doesn't really have anything that can really hurt me too much apart from a close combat, which will hurt quite a bit even though it's neutral. So the idea was just count the fast moves for confusions to a close combat and just kind of pressure the shield. So I could have just gone for a Dragon Claw there, but I decided to go for the a Blast Spin because I don't want to make my opponent not go for the bait because that will hurt a lot. So here I was a little late to switch out, but you know, Gyarados has a pretty favorable matchup. Ideally, most people could go for Outrage or run Outrage on Gyarados, but I prefer Crunch because 2 crunches actually, you can get to 2 crunches before you get to 2 Outrages, and 2 crunches can actually take out an Empoleon. So this having Crunch on the Gyarados is really, really important because again, it's more energy efficient and it does good neutral damage. So here, I'm letting it go down because I really want to farm this Empoleon with my Shadow Swampert. And again, like I said, Shadow Swampert is one of the biggest cores of the team because it can farm down Empoleon if it's in the red quite well with Mudshot. And because obviously he swapped out, he doesn't want to get farmed down, I'm able to bring in my Charizard back onto this Venusaur, which is a great matchup. Knowing that Vine Whips won't really hurt me too much, I do commit the second shield because I know I'm able to just about get to the Blast Spin for my opponent. So that was pretty ballsy play. It was going to be a close one. I think he was 1 Vine Whip away, and now this next confusion is going to take my Charizard out if he brings it in. And it does. So now I want to make sure that I count my opponent's fast move, so it gets 2 confusions off. So I throw this Hydro Cannon right on his 3rd confusion because obviously he's stuck in an animation lock, and I'm able to take it out as well. And obviously it doesn't also help, even though my opponent's switch hammer wasn't back up, it's one of those things where it could have been up or close to being up. I didn't want to throw it on them, and having the extra energy generated from throwing the Hydro Cannon mid confusion, I was able to get a few extra energy from the Mud Shots, and that gave me all the energy I needed to kind of Hydro Cannon the Empoleon. I think because Empoleon was only like 1 waterfall away from taking me out. So again, not the best lead, but my opponent switches out. Sorry, good lead by me, and my opponent switches out into Galvantula, which is amazing because obviously Swampert handles all the electric types really, really well. So here, most likely my opponent's going to shield, which is fine. So I am trying to throw the Hydro Cannons because obviously most likely I am going to get debuffed for the first one. I'm going to be able to throw 2 before I get debuffed again. So this doesn't take it out. So at this point I'm like, okay, I could shield, and farm it down completely, but I decided to let it go. Could be a questionable play because I would have had loads and loads of farm on Swampert, but Swampert was quite weak and whatever came in next would have taken it out, so I decided to go for the extra farm down on Galvantula because I needed 2 volts, which is probably more or less go through, but you wouldn't get to a move. And having all that extra energy makes this so important on Charizard because Charizard's blast spins, like I said, are so strong. Having the energy lead can basically get you to 2 or 3, and against this Umbreon matchup, it was key. Umbreon is a beast, man. It's so tanky, so you need all the hard hitting damage. Gyarados has a decent matchup against it, but the Swampert obviously hurts a lot for the Hydro Cannons, and the blast spins hurt a lot. So yeah, my opponent has a Toxicroak in the back to for my Gyarados counter, or for my Gyarados answer, but again, like I said, Toxicroak has a really poor matchup against Gyarados. The only thing that can really hurt it is Sludge Wave, but I think that's neutral as well, and now I'm able to farm this down. The reason why I shield here, even though I kind of predicted it being a Mud Bomb, is because I want as much health as possible on this Charizard, because even though I've got loads of energy on this Charizard, the Umbreon is still fairly tanky, and I've got to either Blast Spin it twice or Blast Spin it once and do a Dragon Claw. But because I had so much energy, I'm able to get this off before he even throws anything. My opponent did have a shield, and obviously uses it as well, but yeah, Wing Attack Charizard is amazing. If you do get a fast elite fast TM, Wing Attack is definitely deserving of it. So as you can see, first set went a 5-0, so this helped me climb massively from 28.89 all the way to about 29.59. So I knew I needed a 4-1 in this last set, so my heart was racing. I was like, this has to be done. These battles were done just past midnight, when obviously the reset of the sets happened. So I was like, okay, 5 sets to make it to legend. All I need is 100 points, and that is a lot of points, especially in the 2900s. Again, I've never made it before, so this is a big moment for me, and you know, I've learnt a lot during the first 4 seasons, and I think it all came together. And you know, I never thought Premier Cup would be the cup that or the Ultra League would be the league I actually make it into legend, but now it's all about climbing the leaderboard. So guys, please keep following me. I'm going to produce a lot of Love Cup content as well as Master League content. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about legend ranking anymore because I would have dropped dramatically in these cups. But I can do much better now and not stress about my rankings only. So I'm bringing my Charizard into this Machamp. Again, I should really focus on the commentary because the commentary is important, going through all the teams and going through all the moves and why I'm making certain decisions. I do decide to shield here because most likely this is going to be a Rock Slide, which it is, thankfully. Could have baited me with a Cross Chop, which would have been not as great, but getting this, here you can go for the Blast Spin. I probably could have, but I'd rather go for just the Dragon Claw, because even though this is a Rock Slide and takes my Charizard out, I could farm down with my Swampert, and that's what I'm saying. The great thing about this team, it gets shields, and it also leaves your opponents, like the Gyarados safe swap, leaves your opponent with very little health, which your Shadow Swampert can farm down and get that energy lead. So it's all about energy management as well as getting opponents shields, because Shadow Swampert is probably the best cleanup crew you can actually ask for. And even though Machamp's here as well, there was a little bit of lag. I'm able to get this Hydro Cannon off to take it out, and I was able to actually get the build-up too. I do obviously have a shield, so as you can see, this was so close. I had to get that Hydro Cannon off at the right time without letting a counter go through, and because I reached the second Hydro Cannon, I'm able to take out this Machamp. If it was a Shadow, yeah, it would have been a GG. So great game by my opponent, well played. On to the next game. So yeah, as you can probably tell, this last set was some really close battles. That was probably the closest battle I've had, and every battle counts. So here, met with a really terrible lead. Politoed, XL Politoed is an absolute beast. It hurts so much, and yeah, my Gyarados finally gets countered with an Electric type. It happens here and there. I normally can get a Crunch off or an Aqua Tail off and weaken my opponent, because most of the Electric types are fairly weak and squishy. So as you can see, my opponent is fully committed to farm down. I'm able to get to the Aqua Tail again. This is most likely to get a shield, because even though the Galvantula is was really weak actually. It's super squishy. The Dragon Breath does so much damage, so having the move types is really good. And now I'm just debating. The reason I come in here with Swampert is because I know Lunge won't do too much damage, and Discharge is basically resisted. So I can take one Lunge and fully farm this down. I could take the second one as well, but I didn't want my Swampert to be too low because whatever comes in next can actually punch me down. So my opponent does switch out because he doesn't want to get farmed down. I decide to catch the Weather Ball on my Charizard. I already know it's going to be a tough battle to go against because Politoed is a really good answer for my Charizard and also my Swampert as well. And getting that Gyarados being taken out by Galvantula really hurt my team a lot. So this is already a GG, but I'm just playing it out to see if I could do anything differently. So had I thrown the Dragon Claw on Charizard, this would have taken out the Politoed, and then maybe, depending on his last Pokemon, I would have probably had a chance to take it out with Shadow Swampert. It's a maybe. It's a maybe, but it could have been possible. But no, it's all about learning these matchups. The 2-3 set I went up previously, I learned the Abomasnow matchup because Wing Attack Charizard isn't great. My opponent also does a really nice flex here as well. He brings out his Galvantula on my Earthquake. So yeah, Umbreon was in the back anyway, which is super tanky. I need 2 Earthquakes to take that thing out, which wouldn't have happened. So yeah, well played by my opponent. He didn't even have to use a shield. So nice flex there in the end. So here I'm like, okay, I need to win. I need to keep winning. So I'm up against a Charizard lead with Dragon Breath, which isn't great. But like I said, I've got 2 answers for it. So I go straight into the Gyarados, and for some reason he's not switching out. And he shields the first Aqua Tail, which obviously will do quite a lot of damage, and he's still staying in. So I'm like thinking, okay, there must be a Kingdra in the back. I've tried this team, Charizard with Kingdra in the back, and when you go up against the Dragon Breath Charizard, it really hurts because your Charizard has to stay in because you can't switch into Kingdra. Because the Dragon Breath is just such a crazy move. My opponent switched that into a Machamp, which was a little bit questionable. Again, I was thinking it was a Kingdra, but Machamp also makes sense because it doesn't want to see the Gyarados completely. I am able to get an Aqua Tail off, which does get the Machamp low. So now these Dragon Claws will actually hurt quite a bit. Surprisingly, I'm not seeing a lot of Shadow Machamps here. I'm just seeing regular Machamps. So I'm able to actually Wing Attack it down. That's the great thing about Wing Attack. It counters the fighters, and my opponent's Charizard comes back in. Here, I'm not going to shield because we're both at even shields. My opponent actually goes for a Dragon Claw, which surprised me. And again, I'm going to go for a Dragon Claw too because I just want my opponent to use his last shield, which he doesn't, and he actually has a Typhlosion in the back, which is like pretty much GG because my second water type is here and it'll take it out as well. So well played to my opponent. So now I'm 2-1. I'm still like holding on, thinking that it's going to be a rough ride, and we are met with one of my favorite matchups. Abomasnow is super strong, and this matchup is really dicey because Wing Attack does do super high damage, but it isn't great because Fire Spin would have been the ideal moveset here, but I've learnt the matchup really well now. So 2 shields you can win, and the whole idea is to go Dragon Claw, but my opponent doesn't actually shield here. Well, I shield here because the second Weather Ball will take me out, so we both committed 1 shield. Ideally I should have just gone for the Blast Burn here, but which I did in my previous matchup. My opponent didn't shield, so I just thought I'd go for the Dragon Claw. If he shields, perfect, get both shields. So he doesn't actually shield. So now I'm made or left with the commitment of actually just taking this Weather Ball, letting my Charizard die, and bringing out my Gyarados. I know I'm going to have to take a Weather Ball because Abomasnow gets to Weather Balls really quickly, which is fine. It's only going to do neutral damage, which is okay. It does quite a lot. For some reason, I think there was a bit of lag. He stopped attacking, and he brings out his Dragonite. So I'm not thinking, okay, brings out his Dragonite onto a Gyarados. What's in the back? Could be another Dragon type, but he would have bought Kingdra out, probably a Fire type. So I'm able to shield. I do want to keep this Gyarados alive because I'm expecting a Charizard. Gyarados will do really well against both Dragonite and Charizard, and because of that, having that so-called lead, I'm able to throw his Aqua Tail, get the final shield from my opponent. Now I'll switch into my Swampert because Swampert wasn't going to have the best matchup against Dragonite. It can still do well with Hydro Cannon, but Charizard Blast Burns really won't do much against this Swampert, and I can just throw these Hydro Cannons, and basically one will take it out. And yeah, the second one will take out the Dragonite. So well played to my opponent. Having that little bit of extra read or time to kind of see what my opponent might have in the back really helps you with the switches. So do anticipate at this point of the so-called ELO range to know what your opponent might have in the back, because it really helps you make the right calls. But yeah, on to the next game. up against a really good lead. So this is my final game. So this is the game that will help me get to legend rank. So I believe it's that one, the fourth one. So it was 3-1 at the time. Yes. So Skarmory, great lead. I do have to watch out for the Brave Bird. And rather than just baiting with Dragon Claw, because again, if a bait fails, it will hinder you in actually winning. You might have to commit a shield. So the whole idea again is get my opponent's shields, because Swampert can handle the Skarmory in the back. Sorry. Yeah, Swampert in the back can handle Skarmory. So again, I'm going for a second Blast Burn, and my opponent I get the second shield. So I'm not thinking, wow, my opponent's shield down. I don't have to shield this because my Charizard has done his job. And he actually undercharges here, which is a great play by my opponent, because now he can actually, it was a CMP tie, so now he can actually have some energy going in. But because I'm so quick at getting Hydro Cannons, I'm not too worried. My opponent does stay in. I do have to get a lot of damage off on the Skarmory. I do overcharge a little bit, because in case my opponent swaps out, I can have almost like a thrown Earthquake instead, and he switches out here onto his Tangler. So for some reason I experienced a terrible amount of lag. I was clicking my Gyarados, I either misclicked or wasn't clicking it, but I was able to get to an Earthquake before getting taken out by a Tangrowth, which actually helped me win the game. Spoilers. So my opponent does have quite a lot of energy, and he has he has two Rock Slides. The first one obviously won't take me out, so I do decide to shield, because I need to get this Tangrowth low. I wasn't actually going to shield initially, but I realized Swampert has a shit matchup against Tangrowth. It really can't hurt it too much, so I have to get this crunch off. And my opponent's actually coming into the farm down here. I'm actually able to Dragon Breath it down, which was really amazing. And then he brings out his Skarmory again, thinking, okay, what's in the back? And you know, it's Aqua Tail, because I already had it loaded. We'll take it out, and it's actually Machamp in the back. I was so slow to switch into this. He already had 3 counters off, and was able to counter me down twice. So I was thankful this Earthquake was ready, which I was able to click, and I basically managed to Earthquake it a one-shot, because I don't think a Hydro Cannon would have taken out Machamp from that range. So that 4th win was super close. Hadn't I been able to charge up to the Earthquake with a bit of lag, I probably would have lost that game. Maybe it's hard to say, but yeah guys, thank you for watching. That's my run to legend, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and take care. Thank you.